is the Quran is seeking to correct Christians about their belief, but it fails to accurately describe the belief that Christians have to correct that belief.
In fact, I don't totally disagree with you. In fact, that I don't have any answer why is depicting Mary as also a person that got worshipped by Christians. Is it because there was kind of a sect who was worshipping Mary at that time, or I have no idea. I'm going to tell you the truth. Is it possible? Is it possible? Just a possibility that it happened during the Christianity, a time where some people inside the Christianity was worshiping Jesus and Mary at the same time. Maybe, I said, I don't know. I have no history background about that, nothing.
So my best educated guess is this: that the churches that existed in the Middle East are what we in academic circles would now call Catholic churches. And those churches, they venerated Mary as they venerate other saints, and they honored Mary, and they believed, and they still believe, they're still there, they believe in the intercession of the saints. And so they can ask Mary to do things. So when Muhammad was on his travels in Syria, I think he was exposed to that, and he didn't understand what he was seeing. And so he mistook veneration and the request for the intercession of the saints as actual worship of Mary as a god with Jesus and with the Father, which for Muhammad was Allah. And then he's taken that misunderstanding, and that's what we're finding in the Quran. And it's also what we're finding with Ibn Kathir, and he's probably making that same mistake. Now, it's important to point out that a significant minority of Christians don't believe or practice the intercession of the saints at all. And so it's not that all Christians believe this and all Christians practice this. But certainly at the time of Muhammad, all Christians that Muhammad would have been exposed to did believe it, did practice it, this intercession and veneration of the saints, including Mary. And I think that's where Muhammad gets his idea from. But the thing is, an all-knowing God should have known the difference between worshipping Mary as a god and venerating Mary and asking for her intercession as a saint. And if he disagreed with the idea of veneration and intercession of Mary as a saint, he should have been able to articulate and gone, hey, you think Mary can intercede for you. You venerate her as if she can hear your veneration. Stop all that. It's not true. But he doesn't. The author of the Quran thinks that Mary is taken as a god. And that is just nowhere near the truth. And there is no sect that treat Mary as a god that I know of.
Okay, I understood your point. But my question is, when you ask, because in the principle in the Quran is the association. You're supposed to ask for help God directly, no intercession. So but maybe Muhammad or the Quran is pointing out that by asking Mary to intercede or to give help or to supply anything, not directly to God, there's part of association in making her like having superpower. Just a quick question. In your Bible, does it say that Mary is a prophet or has something special from God? Look, I don't know the Bible. I didn't read it. Just read some passages. This is an honest question.
No, okay. Well, and what's your name, brother?
Sean.
Sean. So, I mean, I want to encourage you, Sean, to get yourself a Bible and to start reading it and to find yourself knowledgeable questions to ask such questions to. To answer your question directly, Mary is not called a prophet, but she is called the mother of the Lord. You know, and the reason why she's called the mother of the Lord in the Gospel of Luke is because she, when in her womb, is the incarnate Logos, the incarnate Word, that is the divine Son, Jesus Christ, and a pre-existent person that has always existed, even before time itself began. And he has taken to himself a humanity, and that humanity is of Mary. And so she receives this title, the Mother of the Lord, which the church in the course of history gives her the title Theotokos, or Mother of God, is how it's badly translated into English. It probably is more accurate to say God bearer. And so, that's to answer that specific question. Coming back to your comments about the Quran, whilst I understand that your comments are, I don't think you can get around this statement. So if you go to Surah 5:116, it says, "And recall when Allah said, 'O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to mankind, take me and my mother as two gods apart from Allah,' so equaling three gods." That you can't get around that. That's what the Quran is accusing Christians of believing, you know, because obviously Allah is speaking to Isa. Isa is the one that brought the Injil, and the Injil is the people of the book known as the Christians. And so this is a correction being offered to Christians. But unfortunately, no Christians have ever believed in three gods. By definition, you can't be a Christian and believe in three gods. It's like someone saying that I'm a Muslim and I believe that there's another prophet after Muhammad. You know, it immediately excludes you from the community of believers.
Exactly.
I agree. But in fact, as I said maybe there is, and the Quran is depicting Mary as an associator. He has a special divine power because she got the word in her womb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why when we intercede, when she is asked to intercede, she is given somehow some kind of divine power. Do you understand? So
yep.
Maybe, I said maybe, that's what the Quran is asking us. So did you take her as a god? Meaning, are you worship her as a being who has divine power?
So you know that.
Do you understand my meaning?
Yeah, I think I do.
But one second.
Yes.
The thing is, I heard you said the word in her womb. The thing is, I saw a video of GodLogic saying that there is kind of misunderstanding in the Quran or between God is, because the Quran is depicting Jesus as the Spirit and the Word from God or of God, but in the same time he's denying the deity of Christ. So my question: what makes you think inside the Quran that by Jesus being called the Word, he is divine? I don't know if I'm changing the subject, but
it's connected. It's connected. So let me ask you this question. Is Allah ever without his attributes?
Is Allah without ever his attribute?
Yeah, is Allah ever, is there any point at which Allah doesn't have his attributes?
No, he has his attributes all the time.
And is his speech one of those attributes?
Speech one of his attributes? What do you mean speech?
His word, is that one of his attributes? Is his kalam one of his attributes?
No. I don't.
No.
For me, for so far, I don't see speech as being attribute.
Okay.
I know he's merciful, he's just, he's stuff like this, but speech, word, I didn't see that.
I would suggest, I don't know if you know much about the Mu'tazilite heresy, but one of the debates that happened in in ancient Islam was a debate about whether Allah's speech was eternal or not, whether the Quran was eternal or not.
I know about that.
Yeah,
but I don't agree with it.
The Mu'tazilites were the group that were condemned because they believed that the speech of Allah was created.
Yeah, but that's why it's a heresy, by the way.
And,
and the Muslim who defend this idea of the words of the Quran is eternal or uncreated, they shoot themselves on the foot, in fact, because it's a big nonsense.
So you disagree with the idea of the eternal Quran?
Of course.
Okay.
There's only God who is eternal. Okay. For me, when I read the Quran, that's what it says.
Right. So let me finish the logic. Let me explain the logic, and then you can reply. So, if you take the assumption that God is never without his attributes, and speech is one of his attributes, then because the Quran says that Isa is a word from Allah, that this word is called Isa, he names one of his words, and that Isa is a spirit sent from Allah, then because the spirit is something that is one of Allah's attributes, therefore the logic is that Isa must also be divine.
No, not at all. This is completely illogical.
Yeah, that's fine. You deny that the attributes are.
But I can explain why. I can explain why, if you want.
Go on.
Of course. Are you okay to let me explain why?
Yes,
because the Quran explains what's the word. He explains it clearly. I mean, I'm going to give you an example. Is there any person or prophet called the word except Jesus in the Quran?
To my knowledge, no.
Nope.
You're 100% right. Nobody is called the word except Jesus.
Wait, say that one more time, because I get sometimes when I go with this subject, we get
Muslims. I'm going to say it 10 times if you want. No problem.
Say it loud for the people that they can hear
loud. Yeah, very loud. There's nobody else, prophet or human being, called the word in the Quran. But you have to listen after. There are many things called the words.
Right. So
the question is, what are the other words?
You have Allah's revelation.
No,
right?
completely false.
I'm sorry.
This is not what the Quran is saying. Do you want me to go with this? No problem. I'm going to preview. First of all, people think that a word in English means a word.
Right, but the problem is that... Before you continue, brother, I promise I'm going to let you continue.
No problem.
Thanks, Omar, for the super chat. We also have a couple of super chats I wanted to get to eventually. Just hold that thought. Bob, this was for you as well. If they said from Norway, brother Bob, we met in 2022 summer at Speaker's Corner when I was on vacation with family. Don't know if you remember. It was so short an intro because you were busy and my family was waiting. But God bless you both. So they wanted to give you a shout out because they got to meet you. And then we also have a super chat that's asking a question on Surah 3 verse 3. And just want to let you know, thank you for the super chat. It's a huge one. We're going to get to your question once we flush this out just a little bit, but we'll get to your question right after this, okay? So I'll pull it back up when it's time. But thank you so much for dropping that super chat. All right, go ahead, Sean. Break it down.
I'm sorry. Okay, so the thing is, yes, you are right. I'm going to repeat again like this. Everybody is clear for him. The word is only called for Jesus, and no other prophet is called the word. But God says in one of his verses that if the sea was ink for his words, it would not be enough. So what it means, it's not the words of the Quran or his revelations, because if you take all the revelations from Noah till now, the seas will be much more than enough. Do you agree with this? So here, the Quran, if the words mean the words of the revelation, it's a big contradiction here.
But the point is that this kind of picture metaphor that the Quran is using is it's trying to say that if I remember that passage correctly, it says that if all the oceans were ink and all the pens and all the trees were pens, then even if jinn and mankind united together, they couldn't produce a surah or an ayah like under this Quran. So it's saying even if you had infinite resources and infinite time, you could not produce a Quran like you couldn't produce a verse of the Quran like this. So that's not a statement about the created
That's
nature.
not what it's saying. I'm sorry, because I have it in front of me.
Go on. Which passage is it then?
Is 18:109 or 31:27?
Bear with us. 18. Let's have a look.
109.
Bear with me. 18:109. Good there. Sorry, clicked on the wrong one.
By the way, guys, 18:109. We got the verse.
Yes.
Don't forget, guys, if you guys are watching, please hit that like button. It really helps the video get out. It helps the algorithm, people to see this. If you guys are enjoying this conversation, you love our guest, Sean, who's been pretty polite and respectful here with a good conversation. We got Bob here. So make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Let people know, let YouTube know we're here. All right, what does this verse say?
Yeah. It's talking about the fact that the words of Allah can't run out. Yeah, it is a different passage to the one I was thinking of.
Yes.
It's saying that the words of Allah can't run out, but that's saying
run out. What do you mean by run out?
As in they're infinite.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, if they're infinite, don't they have a divine attribute?
It doesn't infinite, but it's a lot. So it's more than one for sure. It's a big number.
But the implication is, if it says that the sea were to become ink for the words of my Lord, the sea would run out before the words of my Lord ran out. In other words, it's saying that the word of Allah is infinite.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
It's a big number
infinite,
for sure.
Attribute.
Because even if you bring multiple seas, it's not infinite. But what the word means is, I'm going to tell you what it means. The word in the Quran, okay. I'm going to give you an example like this. Everybody can understand. In Quran, there are two principles which everybody needs to know. The first principle is a word can have multiple meanings. Like the word right. If I tell you turn right, it means something. But if I tell you I have the right amount, it has another meaning. Understand? So a word can have multiple meanings in the Quran, but two different words, even if they have close meanings, are never synonyms. If you keep this principle, you will understand much better the Quran. So, for example, if you go to verse 8, Surah 18, verse 5, he's saying, what is a terrible word that comes out of their mouth? So he's using the word which has the meaning of, like we know it, a word, a spoken word. But in this verse, when he says that the sea, if the sea were inks for the words, he's not talking about the words of the revelation. It means anything. Look, every time God forces the nature to get off its normal way, he's calling in the word. Every time. For example, I'm going to give you an example. He destroyed a nation with a scream. Is it a normal way to die? No. So this is a word. He sent birds with baked cloth, baked rocks of baked stones of clay to kill nation or to destroy a nation. This is a word. All the miracles of the creation, like say the first atom, the first light, the first gravity, all these are words.
So just to be clear, it sounds like you're talking about Allah's decree and command, but not specifically that these things, like these birds that bring clay or whatever that flew and stuff like that, that they are the words themselves, but they have been commanded by Allah's word to do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's something miraculous or out of the normal way of the nature, commanded by God.
But here's
Thank you very much. Your English is much better than mine.
Okay, I got you, man. I'm here to help. I'm an English sheikh. It's all good.
Yes.
But listen. But here's the difference. The difference is that Jesus himself is identified as Allah's word.
Correct.
Why? The question is why? Because he's get out of the normal way of the nature. He was born without a father.
But the point is,
the
Quran is making. I mean, there's two things here. Firstly, there's three things I want to say here. Firstly, is there's other things that I want to bring forward, connected to problems in the Quran. We've identified a problem in the Quran in the way that it describes the Trinity, and the way that it gets that Trinity wrong, right? And we've kind of moved tangentially.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Now the problem is, if there is an error in the Quran, is the Quran from Allah according to the Quran?
Yes, but I'm not talking as a Muslim. I'm removing my Muslim hat. I'm talking about what the word is meant in the Quran as a non-Muslim. I don't want to be biased. So that's why I said I agree with you that somehow the Quran is not depicting the Trinity right.